The 1987 baseball season concludes tonight. The 7th game of the World Series under the dome in Minneapolis. The St. Louis Cardinals against the Minnesota Twins. It's McGrain against Viola. I'm Al Michaels, and isn't this the way it should be? You start at the end of February and you finish it on the 25th of October. One game for the championship. This is the 84th World Series. This is the 31st time it has gone to a 7th game. And for what it's worth, 17 of the prior 30 have been won by the visiting teams. No World Series has ever gone the route with the home team winning every game, and certainly the Twins hope to accomplish that tonight. Tim McCarver, you're a man who played in 3 7th games with the Cardinals in '64 and '67 and '68, and certainly the St. Louis Cardinals are no strangers to 7th games.
Well, I should say not. As a matter of fact, the last 7 World Series in which the Cardinals have participated dated back to 1946. All 7 series have gone to 7 games. The odds on that, 3,400 to 1. And speaking of odds, what are the odds on a rookie starting the 7th game of the World Series? Well, in the 10 series that the Cardinals have played 7 games, no rookie has ever started, and tonight it'll be Joe McGrain, the left-hander, on the mound. Joe with an 11-9 record this year. And I don't really believe that it's going to be a problem physically for McGrain tonight. I believe that facing from a mental standpoint, the intense heat that the crowd can put on young players, especially here in the Metrodome, is going to be the major problem.
And if he falters early on 2 days rest, it would be Danny Cox in long relief. Well, Tim played in 3 7th games. Jim Palmer has been a part of a couple of teams. Baltimore that went to a 7th game on 2 occasions. What's the mood like in the clubhouse before a 7th game?
Well, what's so interesting is about the 2 World Series that I didn't play in, but I watched, which was 1971 and 1979. We were poised to win. We had the right people out there, and we were always thwarted by 1 or 2 players. 1971, Steve Blass beat us 2-1. Roberto Clemente with great hitting, and then in 1979, Scotty McGregor on the mound for the Orioles, Willie Stargell with a home run to beat us. And if you go back to 1965 with the Twins here in Minneapolis, Sandy Koufax on 2 days rest comes out of nowhere to shut him out with 10 strikeouts, 2-0. But the most interesting thing about baseball to me as a former player is when I go back and think about a baseball season, exhibition games, about 30 of them, 162 games that you trudge through, and you battle through a playoff. Then you get to a World Series and you find yourself all of a sudden in a 7th game. You know what to do to win, but only one team can win.
Put your feet up and settle back. It's a magical phrase in itself. The 7th game of the World Series.
Line. With us tonight are 3 individuals who each in their own way have contributed greatly to the success of Minnesota baseball. Baseball first honors the former president of the Twins, who continues to serve as the club's executive committee, Mr. Howard Fox. Mr. Fox will present baseballs to each of tonight's 2 honored guests. We now honor the man who brought baseball to the Twin Cities in 1961, the former owner of the Twins, Mr. Calvin Griffith. Calvin's side is a man who kept baseball in Minnesota in 1984, Mr. Carl Pohlad. Gentlemen, the stage is set for Game 7 of the World Series. Fire when ready.
And it's on to the 7th game as the Twins to a raucous ovation. A Homer hanky waving ovation take the field. Cardinal lineup, Vince Coleman to lead off. Ozzie Smith batting second. Tommy Herr hits third. Then the rookie, Jim Lindemann, spelling Jack Clark at first base. Willie McGee batting in the 5 spot. Tony Pena is the designated hitter tonight. He bats 6th. Jose Oquendo is in right. Tom Lawless, the big hero the other night in St. Louis, and Steve Lake is the catcher. It is Lake's first start in the World Series. He and McGrain work well. Pena DHs. Gladden, Puckett, and Brunansky in the Minnesota outfield with Gaetti, Gagne, Lombardozzi, and Herbeck, who hit the grand slam yesterday, comprising the infield. Tim Laudner back of the plate, and Frank Viola, who pitched game 1 and pitched game 4, now pitches again in the 7th game. The inside pitch on Frank from the Milwaukee Brewers, Paul Molitor.
Frank Viola's development of a changeup over the past 2 years has taken him from being a good pitcher to a great pitcher. The one thing he has to be careful about there is he occasionally might tip his pitches, holding his fastball lower in the glove as opposed to his changeup or his breaking ball, which he holds higher up into the webbing. The Cardinals should have some success stealing third against him, but he does a very good job of holding runners on first base.
So Frank Viola, who pitched so well in game 1 and not very well in game 4 when Tom Lawless homered, a 3-run homer, that was the big blow to knock him out, comes back with 3 days rest, Jim.
Oh, it certainly was, and he was so overpowering, had a great changeup in the first game, and then in game 4, first to admit everything was up, couldn't get his changeup over, made a mistake to Lawless for the 3-run home run. But you are looking at one of the best pitchers in the American League, and of all of baseball, trailing only Dwight Gooden in wins along with Jack Morris, and we're talking about the winningest left-hander in baseball over the last 4 years. 17 wins this year, 16, 18, and 18.
So the crowd already standing and picking up where they left off yesterday when the Twins wanted to send it to 7. And here we go with Vince Coleman to start things off. Coleman, Smith, and Herr. Vince Coleman, who hit .268 during the regular season right-handed and really having his problems from this side in postseason.
Well, that's a good starting point if you want to try to beat the Cardinals, keep him off base. As Paul Molitor says, if you get on, Viola has a good move. Only 5 successful steals out of 21 attempts.
Game 7 begins with a curve for a strike. And there must have been 1,000 flashballs popping as well. Dave Phillips, with the rotation, is the same umpire who was behind the plate in game 1. And he called that game with Viola pitching. So he knows him very well, not only from regular season, but from postseason. 0-2.
Excuse me, one of the best umpires in the American League. In fact, Joe McGrain was asking, hard to believe he can't remember how he umpired back in the first game, but as Whitey said, he's sometimes on Planet 7, but a good, consistent umpire, the one you want behind the plate for a big game.
Viola ahead, 0-2 on Coleman. Got him.
That's something we did not see in St. Louis. They said he was much quicker in the first game in Minneapolis than he was in St. Louis, and this is a 90-plus fastball. Coleman can't catch up. Cardinal hitters will tell you, I don't know if it's the background or whatever, but it's harder to see the ball here. They saw it much better in Busch Stadium.
Now Ozzie Smith breaking ball low. The other night in game 1, Viola started the game by getting Coleman on a comebacker. In game 4, as he did here, he struck Coleman out. Smith hit .249 this season, right-handed, .335 the other way. So another advantage for the Twins tonight is they are able to turn around Coleman, turn around Smith.
And also turn around Tommy Herr and Jose Oquendo. Together they are 2 for 25. I should say among the 4 of them. 2 for 25 from the right side. So only Willie McGee has been able to thwart the left-handed pitching of the Twins so far.
In the air to right center field, Puckett moves toward the gap and gets it. Quickly 2 down here in the first inning with the bases empty. And Tommy Herr coming up, and you have to stand that close, even if you're the home club, as Brunansky and Puckett have to go mouth to ear for communication.
I think when you talk to all the Cardinals, that's what they say. It's communication. You have to can take your eye off a fly ball. You can't hear the guy next to you. If you're coming in from center field, you really can't hear an infielder calling off a ball.
Tommy Herr hit a home run yesterday. The Cardinals in this World Series have hit 2 home runs. Herr yesterday, and of course Lawless the other night. But in the 6 games, St. Louis has been limited to 9 extra base hits. Twins have 18, including 7 homers. Two and oh.
Well, Whitey in that interview in the pregame hit the nail on the head as you take a look at Whitey. He said we got to stay close. If we do, he thinks that the advantage tilts towards the Cardinals. They can run on just about all the relievers except maybe Schatzeder.
Speaking of tilting, Whitey in a new position. He's out of his lawn chair and onto the bench. You rarely see him sitting on the bench with the players.
And in between the battery of McGrain and Lake.
Yeah.
Little grounder to third. Gary Gaetti turns it into out number 3, and the Cardinals are gone in order after a half. St. Louis nothing, and Minnesota coming up. Lineup tonight for Minnesota. Dan Gladden leading off. It's the same lineup they used yesterday to score 11 with. Gagne batting second. Kirby Puckett had a big day. He was 4 for 4, hits third. Cleanup hitter is Gary Gaetti. DH Don Baylor, big 5th inning homer yesterday and 3 RBIs. Brunansky batting in the 6th spot. Ken Hrbek, who hit the grand slam, batting 7th. Tim Laudner does the catching. Steve Lombardozzi at second base. So the Twins very much going with the lineup which got them here, while the Cardinal lineup is obviously, because of the injuries and other problems, somewhat skewed. Joe McGrain, the pitcher, the inside pitch on him from the Padres' Tony Gwynn.
I had a lot of trouble hitting Joe McGrain this year. He throws a fastball, breaking ball, changeup. But his best pitch is a fastball. And he sinks it, he runs it in and out. But I think the Minnesota Twins will have an opportunity to steal some bases against Joe. Even though he's left-handed, he's real deliberate going to the plate.
Tony Gwynn, the National League batting champion, so he should know. Outfield, Coleman, McGee, and Oquendo. Infield, Lawless at third, Smith at short, Herr at second, and Lindemann at first. This is their lineup against left-handed pitching. Steve Lake does the catching with Pena as the DH and McGrain on the mound to face Dan Gladden.
And Steve Lake should neutralize the weaknesses that Joe McGrain has in his move to first base. He's a better throwing catcher right now than Tony Pena.
And they'll try to keep Gladden off the bases, and that's been difficult. Gladden has a hit in all 6 games. He's the only player on either team to boast of that, and he looks at a strike. Gladden, Gagne, and Puckett in the bottom of the first with no score. Joe McGain, very bright, very articulate, and loves his flaky image. Gets it over for a strike, and it's 0-2.
And he can also pitch when he's healthy. Started out the season 5-0, and then had some elbow problems. Went 2-7, and then 1-2 to go 9-7. Big game, 1-0 game on September 29th. And you look at 1-0. You said he was really in control. He wasn't. He was all over the place. Seems already with 2 pitches, he got pretty good control.
And just misses inside. 1-2.
And that's that big breaking ball that Tony Gwynn talked about. He would like to be able to run the ball away from the right-handed hitters, run the ball away from Ken Hrbek, and get his breaking ball over. When he gets ahead, he'll come inside, but basically wants to throw that sinker away.
It's grounded and stopped by Lindemann. Shovels to McGrain. Nice play for the out. 1 gone here in the first inning. So they keep Gladden off the base paths, and it'll bring up Gagne.
Well, that was a triple yesterday, Timmy. You see, this is almost the same swing, same ball, maybe a little bit more to the right of the bag, but instead of Dreesen being there, Lindemann is there and smothers the ball and makes a nice play.
1 out. Gagne is the hitter. Greg struggling in the series with just 4 hits. And yesterday he was 1 for 5. 1 out. Bases empty in Game 7 at the Metrodome. Think about Joe McGrain for a second. When Joe McGrain started the season, he's in the minor leagues. He's in Louisville on opening day. And here he is on closing day pitching for the World Championship.
Called up when Tudor broke his leg back in April after a good spring.
The injury to Tudor got McGrain to the majors earlier than Whitey Herzog had anticipated, and he made the most of the opportunity. Gagne around the bunt and missing for strike 2.
He was trying to push that ball between McGrain and Lindeman. Lindeman playing deep. You can play deep with 2 strikes, but a good idea by Greg Gagne. He wants to push it, and it's a good thing to do against a left-handed pitcher because all left-handers fall toward third base. So that gives you an even bigger hole to bunt the ball between the first baseman and the pitcher.
Oh, and 2 the count. One out and the base is empty. Joe McGrain has moved around in his life. His father right now teaching at Morehead State University in Kentucky, but part of McGrain's childhood was spent in this area. And he pitched in this ballpark as a collegiate. He went to the University of Arizona and faced Minnesota a couple of years ago in the Metrodome. And he gets it. Ran it down and in on Gagne, and there are 2 gone with Kirby Puckett coming up.
And this is a point that you alluded to all series, Timmy. When you get ahead, you can make the hitter expand the strike zone. Look for this ball. It's an obvious ball, but you got to go at it. Tight spin on the breaking ball. Take another look. Makes him expand the zone, and he swings at the pitcher's pitch.
That's that disappearing slider. It serves as the illusion of a strike, but it's got a late break to it, similar to the idol of Joe McGrain when he was growing up, Steve Carlton.
And he finally got to meet Steve, in fact, the other night in St. Louis.
He did indeed.
Strike. 0-1.
And as glib as he is, he was almost speechless.
He really was. We, of course, were all there, and Joe came up to meet Steve, and it was just wonderful. I mean, seeing the expression on his face, like a little 9-year-old boy meeting Steve Carlton instead of a guy pitching the 7th game of the World Series.
Well, it's funny because a lot of players block several things out, but McGrain is the kind of guy that he knows where he is, and he's relishing and trying to savor every moment. Obviously, he's thinking about taking care of the Twins, but he is the kind of guy, and we've gotten to know him a little bit over the past couple of weeks, who is fully aware of this particular point in time and what it means.
And at this particular point in time, I think he crossed up Steve Lake, and I believe, I mean, they're concerned about maybe the Twins have their signs, and Whitey more or less alluded. 29 runs. It looks like they're hitting all kinds of pitches. So I imagine they're using different sequences, even with nobody on, just to kind of confuse the Twins in case they are getting pictures. And right there, he crossed him up. You don't want that to happen with somebody on, a runner on third or something like that.
Yeah, you want to keep signs simple enough to get, but difficult enough to not have them being stolen.
2 out, bases empty, and 1-1 the count on Puckett. Hit slowly toward third. Lawless throws low, scoop late. Puckett beats it out for an infield single.
A lot of times when infielders feel the ball, they feel the ball in the web, and instead of throwing it with 2 fingers, they throw it with 3 fingers. I think that's what happened to Lawless on that play. A very close play at first base, but that ring finger is for rings. It's not used for throwing.
Well, we've seen Tom Lawless, saw him in game 1, does not have a strong arm. I really believe he has to play a little more shallower with a fast runner, even with 2 strikes.
You do give up something on the sharply hit balls by playing more shallow on the rug, however.
Gary Gaetti takes low, ball 1. 1-0.
Oh, well, he's out.
Yeah.
He was out. Very close play.
Again, I don't mean a radical departure from where you normally play, but a step or 2. I mean, a guy like Pendleton can play where he wants to because he's got a strong arm. Lawless doesn't have that.
2-0 the count on Gaetti.
Because if you go back to the infamous fourth inning in the first game, and I was talking to McGrain, he said, "Do you think they have my signs?" And it was a roller to Lawless, then a broken bat hit up the middle, then a bad pitch, Bernansky line drive. Hrbek followed with a grounder up the middle. Not exactly a lot of hard hit balls, but what contributed was walks.
2-0 to Gaetti. 2-1. Rick Rennick coaching at third. And Gaetti looking down to see if Puckett will be in motion.
Rick Rennick, the third base coach, what could have been a very serious fall last night. He fell down a flight of stairs with his hands in his pockets. You see a black eye, his right eye black, so we're thankful that Rick's not hurt.
2-1 the count. And it's hit toward the gap in right center field, but racing over is Oquendo, and he makes the catch. Great play by Jose. No score after one.
Some outfielders, when they're going to their right, would elect to backhand this ball, but you see that little loop that Oquendo takes, and he makes a fine running catch.
And as he came back to the dugout, and even finer considering, again, the roof and also the crowd with not only the white Homer hankies, but a lot of people wearing those white Minnesota Twins American League champion sweatshirts.
Well, that's what Ozzie Smith said yesterday. He said, "We haven't beaten ourselves." In fact, the Twins played worse than the Cardinals. What happened is they just got blown out of the ballpark. So defense, so much of their game.
Jim Lindemann starts the second inning by looping one into center field for a base hit. So Lindemann is 5 for 13 in the World Series, playing in a platoon role. The rookie leads off with a base hit in the second inning, and Willie McGee comes up. McGee with the most hits of anybody in the series, 9, hitting .391.
Everybody well aware that the Cardinals not only have to beat the Twins, but they have to keep the crowd out of the ball game. The best way to do it is to get an early lead. They did that last night until the 5th inning.
That's line in the left for a base hit. Gladden fields on the hop. Lindemann stops at second. And so the first two Cardinals get on here in the second inning. And it will bring up Tony Pena, who is the designated hitter.
Well, exactly what Frank Raiola was afraid of. And you can see Dick Such saying up. You take another look. 2 high pitches. One to Lindemann, one to McGee. Look where it is. He has to be down in the strike zone. That's belt high in the middle of the plate. He cannot live there and be successful. Third consecutive start with 3 days rest. He said it doesn't make a whole lot of difference if you do it regularly over the course of a season. He has not done it. About the 5th or 6th time he's done it all year.
Tony Pena, who had 2 sacrifices during the regular season, with the Twins having to protect against the bunt, but he's up there to swing away and takes low and in. Nick Leyva flashing the signs from third, with Hrbek having to play in and Gaetti as well at first and third.
A lot of times what determines whether you bunt or not is who's following you. I doubt that they'll bunt here with the bottom part of the order coming up.
They've got Oquendo on deck, but then you go to Lawless and Lake. Curve is hit to left field and down the line and deep, and it is a foul ball. Foul ball, says Ken Kaiser, with some emphasis as well.
Again, another ball hit hard, a high curveball. Good idea, 1-0 to come back with a curveball, but not in the position where he threw it. As you see the ball hooking, Raiola gets away with a bad pitch. Pena out in front a little bit. He's not a pull hitter. We've been seeing him drive the ball to right field.
Tom Kelly told me before the game that they will try to get Pena out with breaking balls. Too many fastballs have been fed to Tony so far in this series.
Another fastball, though, is wrapped into center for a base hit. Lindemann around third comes in to score. Stopping at second is McGee. Cardinals lead 1-0.
Tom Kelly really frustrated before the game, saying Tony Pena has been getting one fastball after the other. We've told all of our pitchers to throw breaking balls. Possibly the fact that he hit the breaking ball well resulted in this fastball.
Exactly, and it was a good pitch in the sense that it was down, but if you know any scouting report on Pena, he likes the ball preferably away.
So now Oquendo, and it's the 7th game of the World Series, which means the bullpen. They will not wait. Oquendo, the Twins still having to guard against the bunt, first and second. He's up there to swing away and fouls it off. And it's going to be Bert Blyleven who gets up. He is working on 2 days rest, but there he is. He's got all winter to rest.
Well, he was ready yesterday. In fact, he put his spikes on. They said, no way we will use you. He said, just in case, and now he's up and throwing.
1-1 the count.
To clarify that deal about Pena, you know, if the guy's a fastball hitter, that doesn't mean you can't throw him fastballs. What you try to do, however, is throw him fastballs where he can't hurt you. And with first and second, I would imagine that's what Tom was talking about, that if you're in a pinch, go right to the weakness of Pena. Game situations come at different parts of the game.
Lombardozzi ducking in to keep McGee close at second. Willie at second base, and Pena at first. Nobody out in the second inning. Cardinals have jumped on top, 1-0. Popped up, and the infield fly rule is in effect. Hrbek makes it official. One away in the second inning. I don't know if the Twins could hear each other, but Hrbek was going to make sure Lombardozzi didn't come anywhere near him. And had Lombo come over, he would have gotten a black eye.
Well, that's the difference. You'll see Hrbek never, ever take his eye off the ball. You can't do that here. And that's the problems that visiting teams have. You take your eye off the ball, you never pick it up again.
One of the great lines during the playoffs was a banner saying, Hrbek, buy a vowel. All he has to do is look at his neighbor at second base. He can give him a couple.
Lombardozzi, or borrow one from Oquendo, maybe.
Yeah.
Lawless takes a strike, and the count 0-1. And the last time Lawless faced Viola, Busch Stadium erupted in Game 4. 3-run homer.
0-1 high fastball. I got the message right there that Viola was not throwing that well, only in the sense that he wasn't behind. Lawless, not a home run hitter, only 2 hits before that. Jumped on a high fastball and hit it about 365, 70 feet.
Enough.
In the air to right center field and deep, but Puckett has room and makes the catch on the track. McGee tags and goes to third. Pena retreats to first. So Tom Lawless, a deep drive again off Viola, but this time a long out, and it will bring up Steve Lake with runners at first and third and 2 down.
Definitely a high ball hitter. This one, you can see where this one ends up. If he pulls it, it's a home run, but Viola went away up in the strike zone. Similar pitch that he hit for a home run, but instead of being inside, it was out in the outside part of the plate.
I think Lautner out talking to Viola now and telling not only Viola, but Gagne and Lombardozzi what he's going to do in case Pena tries to go to second. And the Cardinals tried to get a cheap run, which they may do with Steve Lake hitting. Steve's first postseason at bat.
He came in earlier in the series to catch the 9th inning in Game 5, but didn't hit. And he hits it into left field for a base hit. So another sudden hero. 2-0 as McGee scores. Steve Lake.
Great line. He comes into the training room. He's watching the football game, and he says, 1 minute I'm watching the football game. The next time I'm starting the 7th game of a World Series. First pitch, base hit. Down middle of the plate.
As a matter of fact, Jim, Steve was telling both Al and me that he could be the hero tonight. He said, look at all the heroes so far.
He said, I'm the only Scribini who hasn't starred.
Right.
2 out, first and second. Coleman swings and misses. The one thing you got to love about a Steve Lake, he was telling me a story the other night. Talk about life imitating art, imitating life imitating art. He watches the beginning of a game of the World Series on television in the clubhouse, and then he says, wait a minute, I'm here. And he opens up the doors, and he says, there it is. I walk into the stadium, and I'm in uniform. He said, it wasn't official, though, until I heard the opening billboards. 1-1.
Well, such a major part in their season. When Pena broke his thumb, he played early in the year. The reason McGrain is having him as his catcher tonight is because they've had such a great success. I think he's 5-1 with McGrain. Throws well, and he can hit.
2-1 the count on Coleman. So Blyleven still in the bullpen. Back of Viola. 2-0 St. Louis in the second inning. And there he is, Viola, a 6.04 ERA, pitching under these circumstances, and 281 when he gets his rest. To shallow center field, Lombardozzi and Gagne go out, and it's Gagne to the count. But the Cardinals parlay 4 singles into 2 runs and a 2-0 lead in the middle of the second inning.
A little in-between psychology from Dick Such, the pitching coach, and that's what, of course, pitching coaches do. Help you with your mechanics, but sometimes soothe your soul.
I'll tell you, I'd rather have a hitting instructor as a batter soothe my soul than help me with mechanics. I think that's what batting practice is for. I don't think that belongs in a game unless it's blatant.
Don Baylor to start the bottom of the second inning. 2-0 St. Louis, taking a strike. Baylor, Brunansky, and Herbeck. Don Baylor with the Red Sox until August. Twins picked him up prior to the deadline. And his first homer as a Twin came yesterday. And what a homer. It tied the game. And eventually Minnesota went on to win 11-5. Joe McGrain. And Baylor with a strike, and Dave Phillips hit by the baseball, so shaking it off.
Well, breaking ball with 1 strike. You can't really see from that angle, but this is why, even though he's hit, and you'll watch the ball spin away and hit Davey Phillips, first thing he does is look at the first base umpire for some help. Right there out of frame, even though he's probably hurting, and he gets the affirmation from Lee Wire.
Great, in the line of duty. In agony, he still makes the call, and Baylor gets hit by the pitch. And that's nothing new.
What about the 226th time in his career?
Anytime you work Baylor inside, you're going to run that risk.
It's one of his defensive measures, really, and that's not applicable here because it's a breaking ball, but his big weakness is up and in, so he just turns into the ball and takes that away from the opposing pitcher. That time a breaking ball hits him in the foot.
Yeah, Jimmy, Don was hit 255 times. As a matter of fact, he broke Ron Hunt's record. Hunter was hit 243 times. But usually it's not hit in that particular fashion with the breaking ball down and in.
Brunansky. Fastball low, 1-0. McGrain's reaction after hitting Baylor. Especially when you get ahead of the count.
Head of the count, head of the game, leadoff batter. A lot of reasons he's disappointed.
1-0 on Brunansky. Nobody out. Bottom of the second, 2-0 Cards. Toward the home base hit. Baylor stops at second.
Thing about the Twins in this ballpark, they refuse to let you take the crowd out of the game. They bounced right back last night, and they're trying to do it again this evening.
Kent Herbeck, first and second, and nobody out.
See, that's fine to start Hrbek off with a breaking ball, but I would think he is looking for a fastball, trying to drive it, and afford to look for his pitch here and see what McGrain does.
2-0. Wallace visits McGrain.
The thing about this crowd, it's almost as though they should go to spring training with the Twins. You got to be physical to watch a game here.
Woo. It's a check swing and a strike called by McSherry at third, and is Hrbek angry? I don't know how Phillips can hear him.
I think all his anger is directed at John McSherry, the third base coach. I didn't think so. What do you think, Jimmy?
Now you'll be able to tell better from here. Did he go across home plate? I don't think that's a swing.
I don't either.
Again, the guy that had the best view in the ballpark is John McSherry, and he called it. Didn't make Kent happy.
2-1. 2-2.
What's interesting, after you hit a grand slam, you've been in a slump, you'd think you're not aggressive enough. You can see right there, one hit in the 13s, and that's the grand slam off Kent Daly yesterday. He's taken some close pitches you think he'd swing at. Not to criticize him, but he's been very patient.
3-2 on Hrbek.
Send the runners here?
I don't.
It's tough. Even though you do have a double play hitter hitting, you got a ground ball pitcher.
Hrbek struck out 60 times, not that much for a power hitter, but he grounded into 13 double plays. Tough ball here. Runners don't go, and he strikes out swinging. And that's a case where maybe they go if it's a right-handed pitcher, but not against the lefty. And how big now is that check swing strike now that he's gone on strikes?
Well, right in his power, low ball hitter, low pitch, and it sinks. That's the key. 3-2. McGrain has such a live arm. You think the ball is going to stay. And you can see right there the pleasure with John McSherry that Kent Hrbek displays.
Well, the great thing about this game is that there's no way the umpire can hear you from that distance. You're never going to get thrown out.
No.
Laudner rips it foul into the fourth row.
You could kind of see this coming. Watch Herbie, as he's affectionately known by his teammate, start his verbal barrage toward John McSherry.
McSherry, part of the heftiest umpiring crew in history. Strike 2. 0-2 on Laudner. Tim did not join the hit parade yesterday. Performed well early in the series, but as you see now down to 263, and he was 0 for 5 in Minnesota's 15-hit barrage yesterday afternoon. Baylor is at second. Brunansky at first. 1 out in the second inning. 2-0 Cards. One and 2.
I think that Steve Lake was asking where that pitch was. Again, it's very hard to talk to a catcher or a catcher talking to an umpire, but that curveball, the only place it was around the plate. Pretty good pitch.
That's grounded to the hole for a base hit. Baylor is
I'll tell you, if you're going to trade that out, Vince Coleman with 16 assists on the year, second to Glenn Wilson of the Phillies, who led the National League with 19. But we brought this up earlier. The reason he is so good at that, he charges the ball. But in my opinion, Bernansky and Lautner should move up on this play because of the ball being hit so sharply. I'll tell you, it looked like a high tag to me. The ball
looks like he's safe.
Looks like he's safe, but because the ball beat him, the little short hop and the tag. Yeah, he tagged him high. Yeah, he's safe.
Oh, yeah. Some of the people are booing. They didn't put it up on the big screen, but there are enough private boxes here that have televisions, and they saw what you saw. So you get about 20% of the folks booing, and those with the portable televisions as well. Pitch up and away. If they put that up on the big screen, this place would have come apart.
Take a look again. Looks like Baylor's right leg way across the plate before Steve tags him up the leg.
Yeah.
And now more people have access to television monitors, and that's the booing you're hearing. Lombardozzi with the count 1-0.
Getting back to the other base runners, you saw Don Baylor thrown out trying to, Don doesn't run that well. If you're the runner at first base, you've got to look for the throw. If it's too high, that's what determines whether you go to third or not. A ball hit that sharply, the chances of a pretty good throwing outfielder like Coleman getting Baylor is pretty good. And he did nail him, but in the course of nailing him, you want to move your runners up 90 feet. Both Lautner and Bernansky.
Crowd is chanting safe, safe, safe.
He was. But the ball beat him by such a large margin, I can understand how Davy Phillips missed that call.
And that's the type of call. It's not that uncommon. You see that play happen a lot. High tag, foot there, but out. 2-0 on Lombardozzi. And that's wrapped into center field for a base hit. Bernansky will come in to score, throw in the second, getting back in there safely is Lautner. Danny Cox to the pen on 2 days rest. It's 2-1.
Oh, the first bad pitch, the truly bad pitch. Look where it is, belt high, middle of the plate. Lombardozzi, 3 hits yesterday, is on a hot streak. Today's no exception. McGee with a smart play, throws behind the runner, but he almost gets Lautner at second. Knew he did not have a chance. Good play by Willie McGee.
Dan Gladden grounded out in the first inning. 3 hits and a hit batsman here in the second. Change missing, 1-0. Whitey, a new posture, a new position, but he has to send Cox to the pen. One and one on Gladden. This has the makings, at least at the outset, of a very wild game. You've got Viola definitely struggling, working on 3 days rest. The rookie McGrain, the long man with 2 days rest in Cox, and the Metrodome. Good fastball.
It appears that Steve Lake is giving positioning to Joe McGrain, and it's the first spot he touches. If it's his left leg, first, it's inside. The right leg, it's outside. And when you give position, usually it's a fastball. Let's see if it's inside again.
2-2.
Breaking ball. So
what you said is Steve Carlton, who you caught for years, was a fastball, basically away slider in. So you can throw and show position on a breaking ball if you throw a hard slider, and that's what McGrain's throwing. He certainly doesn't want it out over the a breaking ball.
Inside again.
Popped up. Tommy Herr is there. And he stays with it. Twins get a run. 2-1 Cards after 2. Back after this from your local station.
Not only do you at home have the best view of that play with Baylor sliding in, but you would think Davey Phillips would have the same view of that play. The difference is it's happening much quicker.
We mentioned that no World Series has ever gone the distance with the home team winning every game. They've come close on those 4 occasions, but in each instance, the visiting team won Game 7. Ozzie Smith starts the third with a chopper to third, and he's thrown out by Gaetti. Watch him play every day, and you really appreciate him. The G-Man.
I only had to watch him about 13 games a year, and I appreciate it. But Ozzie Smith, the only way to hit this ball, and you see Gaetti backpedal playing in for the bunt, and an awfully strong arm. See how Shawley's playing, sets himself. He's got a gun for an arm. They call it a rifle, and he throws him out easily. That ball's over his head. He's got to be looking fastball. He jumped on it, wasn't able to get a base hit.
Tommy Herr with 1 out. Tries to bunt his way on, but foul. 0-1 on Herr. Tommy grounded out in the first inning. 1 out, bases empty. We're in the 3rd inning of Game 7. Cardinals on top, 2-1.
The 26 pitches through 2 innings. That's really not an inordinately high number, but the results have not been good because, speaking of high, he's been up in the strike zone.
0-1 to Herr. It fouled on the count, 0-2. Linderman on deck.
Tommy Herr has a most unusual batting style. It's almost like both feet are doing a pitter-pattering motion before he swings. Most hitters dig in with their back feet. Not true with Herr.
But you'd also call him a front foot hitter, which is why he doesn't have a lot of power. Most home run hitters really do pivot off that back foot, throw their hips in. He slides forward.
One and two.
Again, does not have the physical characteristics or makeup of a home run hitter, and he does what he does best, which is hit the ball back up the middle, Busch Stadium being a huge ballpark.
A lot of times there you see that little pitter-patter motion of Tommy Herr.
It's almost a rhythm.
Half swing foul.
A lot of times what determines whether a guy's going to be a home run hitter or not is not only power, it's lift in the swing. And as Jim pointed out, with that much movement, you're more likely to hit the top half of the ball and therefore not have as much lift as if you were to hit off your back leg.
He got a little bit of lift yesterday. Batting from the left side, he lifted it right into the upper deck.
Gave the Cardinals a momentary lift, as a matter of fact.
Foul away again, and still a ball and 2 strikes on Tommy Herr. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Cards. 1 run, 4 hits for the Twins. Twins are trying to win their first ever World Series title since moving to Minnesota. The only time that this franchise has won a World Championship was back in 1924 when they were the Washington Senators. Cards, of course, have won it as recently as 1982. And that's line foul. Twins in the World Series for the 2nd time ever, the other time 1965 when they went 7 with the Dodgers. The 7th game was played at Old Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. The difference was that day Minnesota faced a fellow by the name of Koufax.
2 days rest, 10 strikeouts, 2-0 victory.
Good change curve. Got it. We're way out in front.
That's what you can do when you get ahead. You can take a little something off. The ball ends up being almost a perfect pitch, maybe a little bit low. Look where Laudner catches it. Way out. You watch him reach out on his front foot. That's what you want. You swing at the motion. Try to pick it up as quickly as you can, but that's the definition of a good curveball. He just has that tight spin. You don't really recognize it.
Jim Lindemann has a fastball blown by him. 0-1. Foul, and it's 0-2. What's Lindemann's future? Well, they think of him as a right fielder. He's playing first base in the series because of the absence of Clark. And there is Jack Clark, ineligible for the series, and also a free agent. So if Clark comes back, then Lindemann does figure to go to right. And if he doesn't for some reason, then it's another story. 1-2 the count.
I've been very impressed with Jim Lindemann. He's battled all year long. He had a great spring training, great winter season. Of course, that is in the major leagues. You can see the postseason numbers, so he's really helped him get to the 7th game. The back problems have bothered him all year, and apparently you see him with the hot packs every day. Good, quick bat.
Got him on a fastball. 3 up, 3 down after 2.5. It's St. Louis 2, Minnesota 1. So it's delayed today. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Game 7 of the World Series. Al Michaels with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver at the Metrodome. 2-1 Cards. Gagne, Puckett, and Gaetti. Gagne struck out in the first. 1-0. Rookie Joe McGrain, 23 years old. One and one. It's a funny game with McGrain pitching in the 7th game of the World Series. The crowd serenaded Roy Smalley of the Twins on his 35th birthday today. He's not in the lineup, but he has finally, after a long career, made it to the World Series. Then you take a look at, as we said yesterday, Gene Mott, a great manager for our money. And he's never been there. Takes funny twists and turns. And then there's Tom Kelly, a rookie manager at the age of 37, managing in the World Series and a possible world title.
It's almost cruel the way Gene Mott has been treated in postseason play, as you see, Tom, who could, if he wins this game, become the youngest manager since Lou Boudreau. Lou was 31 back in 1948, but he was a playing manager.
Got him. Kept it in and down on him, and he's out of there.
Well, same formula as Frank Violi. Gets ahead, and then Gagne chases a ball. Started out as a strike, but good sailing cut fastball in on the hands, and when it ended up, it was about 6 inches inside.
Kirby Puckett had 4 hits yesterday and a single, an infield hit here tonight. So that's 1 shy of the series record. Goose Goslin did it in 24, and he was an old twin in a way as a member of the Washington Senators. Strike.
Not until the World Series, doing a little preparation, did I read about that 1924 World Series and how the Washington Senators won. 2 bad hops. One to tie it over Freddie Lindstrom's head. The other one scored Muddy Rule on a bad hop single in the 12th inning, and the winning pitcher, Walter Johnson.
They beat the New York Giants, and that's the last time a 7th game in the World Series went to extra innings. 2nd and last time. Puckett drives it to deep center field. McGee goes all the way back, leaps up, and has it. Willie McGee does what Kirby Puckett does to so many in the American League. He robs them.
We saw how great a center fielder on the effort he made the other night in St. Louis. Right there, a little premature jump, but boy, does he get up there. Talking triple. And it's so true with another angle. You see a little short of the warning track. not sure of the field here as much as he would in Busch Stadium about Kirby Puckett. They said when he gets hot, and we've seen the 5 hits, it doesn't matter what you throw up there. I mean, that was a low and away curveball and went out and raked it almost 410 feet to center field.
Gaetti with 2 out and the bases empty. Lake taking that shot. Willie McGee. And there are a few guys who can appreciate that play more than Puckett, because he's looked at that play from the other end a lot.
This is a wonderful city to come to unless you're an outfielder.
1-0 pitch. In the dirt again, and it's 2-0.
On the other hand, Jim, you can understand how Puckett can make plays like that because of the give of that hefty bag material. You can't do that into the hard rubber of most outfield fences. And I'm sure that's run through Kirby's mind.
Just don't find the beam.
Yeah, right. The beams that are between are on either side of the 4-8 sign, and there's that beam. That is hard.
It's padded, but it's much harder
That's
than
right.
the stuff.
Right.
That fence only being 7 feet high, so if you, even though you're small of stature like Puckett and you can jump 4 or 5 times, he's gone over that fence.
2 out, bases empty. 2-0 on Gaetti. Lawless to Lindemann and off his glove. So a not-so-routine play, as it turns out. And that's an error on Lindemann. The scoring is an assist on Lawless. That's the way a play like that is scored. And then E3.
We've talked about the lack of arm strength. Right there, it gets the ball to him plenty of times, and he just drops it into the runner, but not that much that he shouldn't come up with it. Not exactly very smooth footwork, Timmy.
That's his 3rd error, and the Cardinals have made 6. Lindemann has half of it. Yeah, it was almost like he was crossing across. It really looked awkward going after the ball.
It looked like he reached before he really saw the throw. He made a stretch
right.
and then couldn't adjust.
Don Baylor with 2 out takes low, ball 1.
Makes you appreciate a Herbeck or a Hernandez or a Murray or a Mattingly. Guys that have such smooth feet, you never notice really what they're doing around the bag.
Grounded to Lindemann, and he was almost ready to atone, but it's a foul ball.
You know, that's not Lee Wire's call. The ball wasn't to first base. Lee Wire made the call.
And I'm wondering if he was looking into Davey Phillips, because until it gets to the bag, the call belongs to Dave Phillips.
Right. So possibly Lee made the call after Phillips went up with both arms.
Watch Davey Phillips right here. Home plate umpire.
He doesn't have the angle.
Ooh.
I'll tell you, that's close.
But it did look foul. Close, yeah.
Close.
1-1. Grounded foul. 1-2.
Dave Phillips didn't jump out right away, and I think Lee Wire had to make the call. Now, Drew Lindemann landed in foul territory. I'm sure we'll see it one more time or so. But before the ball reaches the first base bag, it's the home plate umpire's call. And Dave did not appear to jump out and look down the line in time to really be in a position to make that call. So Wire really necessarily had to make the call.
Runner goes, pitches low and inside, and the throw, no chance. Giant jump, and Lake didn't have a prayer to throw Gaetti out. Another look now at the fair or foul.
And this is not an easy call, but see for yourself.
See, when he gloves that ball, I think he was in fair territory. I think he may have been right on the line. Obviously, his momentum took him into foul territory.
Now that we've looked 3 times, I agree with you.
Maybe, you know.
2-2 to Baylor, got him swinging. So the error does no damage, and we'll move to the 4th in Game 7. Still 2-1 St. Louis.
The key may be here. Watch Dave Phillips, the home plate umpire. As the ball approaches first base, Phillips doesn't get in the proper position to make that call. Consequently, Wire's not in the right position, and Phillips' arms go up after Wire makes the call.
And the way it turns out, at least, it winds up inconsequential because Baylor strikes out. So it, as it turns out, has no effect. And in the fourth inning, McGee starts things off for the Cardinals.
Yes and no. He only had to throw 3 or 4 more pitches, and it makes it a little more difficult. 2 more to strike him out. So this works, make your work a little bit harder. I mean, not a major happening.
1-0 pitch, and it's 1-1. Certainly not like a home run on the next pitch.
A lot of tough calls tonight. And we get to see him 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that's right. 2 of them have involved Don Baylor. The out call at home, and then the slicing ground ball down first.
1-2 on Willie McGee, Pena, and Oquendo. Fourth inning at the Metrodome in Game 7. 1 game for the title, and the Cardinals lead 2-1. Viola gets McGee. That is McGee. If you've watched him in postseason, he's a real good hitter, has been. He's won a batting title, but he will strike out during the course of the season 50 times on pitches way out of the strike zone.
Well, 9th time in this World Series. You can see he's disappointed again, just as Lindemann. He expanded the strike zone, and the key to really the way as you look at a disappointed Willie McGee is that Viola is getting ahead again, and they're chasing bad pitches. Hasn't really established his changeup tonight, something that he used in the first game.
He has struck out 4, and he has struck out the last 3, and he's retired 5 in a row. Pena fouls it away, and it's 0-1.
That's that pitch you were talking about where Tom Kelly wants it in on his fist. The fastball, instead of away, which has resulted in a base hit, come in on him, Tim.
And also you're in a position now to feed to a hitter's strength. There's nobody on base. Sometimes you get hurt doing that, but with nobody on, that's when you want to throw the fastball hitter the fastballs.
As if they need more reason to make noise, a wave rolls around the Metrodome.
Indoor wave.
Surfs up.
They ought to have a no-wake rule in Major League Baseball.
1-2 on the ever-smiling Pena.
I think waves are becoming to crowds what leisure suits are to clothing.
Passe?
Absolutely. Way passe.
Ancient history, yes.
You mean you haven't seen Palmer's Closet recently? 1-2 to count on Pena. Got it. And boy, is he insane.
I don't think Whitey likes what he sees. Why throw a strike when they'll swing at balls? What's this? I mean, he's throwing about 93 miles per hour, but why throw it in the zone? And this is one of the few pitchers that can pitch within the strike zone, but if they're not going to make you, why do it?
Oquendo grounds it to Gaetti, who corrals it and throws it out. 7 straight set down by Viola. 3.5, 2-1 Cardinals. We're going to the bottom of the 4th. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, and Tim McCarver. Game 7 of the World Series. Tom Brunansky leads off for the Twins with the Cardinals on top 2-1. And he hits it in the air to shallow left field. Coleman comes charging in, puts it away. 1 pitch and 1 gone. And it will bring up Kent Hrbek. all of the scoring in the second inning. The Cardinals with 4 singles for their 2 runs, and then the Twins a hit batsman and then 3 singles to net 1 run, and they also had what would have been the tying run thrown out at the plate when Don Baylor was cut down. I say would have been the tying run. That would have been the first run, and then they subsequently scored. And Hrbek, of all things, bunts to try to get on, and he's out. Lefty against lefty, and even though he took Daly deep yesterday, he was struck out by McGrain in the second, and he figured he would try to cross him up.
Well, excellent play by McGrain. 6-6, bounces off the mound. You can see where Lawless is playing. He gets a better bunt down, but you work on this all spring and pays off in the 7th game of a World Series. Not an easy play. You got to turn around and wheel, pick up the first baseman. Hrbek does not run that well, and he makes an excellent throw to Lindemann.
So 2 down, bases empty in the bottom of the 4th inning. Laudner, the hitter. McGrain has almost gotten Herzog where he wants to be because he was deathly afraid of McGrain getting bombed early, and then he would have had to go to Cox or Tunnel, and he didn't want to do that early on. Now he's almost to the point where he can count on Cox for an inning or 2, and then you got Daly and Worrell. But an early knockout might have been disaster for the Cardinals.
Well, he said his biggest problem all year has been middle relief, and I think it maybe bothers as you look at Danny Cox. Only 2 days rest. You really don't know how he's going to feel, but the desire is there, so you might see him later.
2-1.
Whitey telling us before the game that everybody on the roster is available but Greg Matthews, the left-hander, and John Tudor, the left-hander.
And Tom Pagnozzi has a touch of the flu, but he's available. And the Twins are all healthy. 3-1. Starting Game 7 as rookies, you go back to Stottlemyre, the last to do it in '64 for the Yanks. Joe Black, who spent most of his career as a relief pitcher with the Dodgers, started a 7th game in '52. Lombardozzi comes up. He singled in the second inning, and yesterday he was 3 for 4.
Steve's brother Chris, a second baseman in the New York Yankee chain, 21 years old, and at the game this evening, as are his parents.
His parents look like his brother and sister.
They really do.
Laudner with no speed. Lindemann can afford to play behind him. Willie puts it away to end the 4th inning. At the end of 4, still 2-1 Cardinals. Back after this word from your local station. You know, before the game, we talked about the mood before a 7th game. It's a tight game. What is the mood in the dugout in the middle of a tight 7th game?
I think apprehension. I mean, the trend here in this World Series has been big innings, and they've both been able to stay away from it. Looks like this is going to be the first game that may be decided by 1 run, something we haven't seen.
I think the most relaxed guys in the ballpark are the guys on the field.
Fifth inning, and Lawless, the number 8 hitter, to be followed by Lake and Coleman. 2-1 St. Louis. Lawless flied out in the second inning. Frank Viola, who has set down the last 7. Lawless pops it up, and it's Hrbek in foul territory.
Well, back in the second inning. He gave up 4 base hits, almost all of them on strikes in the strike zone. Now he has stayed out of the strike zone, thrown enough strikes to get ahead, and they are expanding the strike zone. That ball is almost over Lawless's head. So he's throwing well, and they're expanding the strike zone, and it's been a good result for Frank Viola and the Twins.
Steve Lake now. Lake did a nice job along with Pagnazzi earlier in the season. They picked up Tony Pena to solve their catching problems, and then Pena got hurt in April. And it was Lake and Pagnazzi who did a lot of good early work to get the Cardinals off and flying. 1-1.
A lot of hitters do that, and they do it and check for hairline fractures. Usually you do that on the handle, because you can actually hit when a bat is splintered a little bit, but not a lot.
That's the end of that bat.
Speaking of splinters.
Yeah. On a grounder to second. A broken bat. Ground ball to Lombardozzi. 2 down. Viola has shut down 9 in a row after a tough second inning. And up comes Coleman with 2 down.
Well, he can pitch so much like the entire pitching staff was able to pitch all year. With the minute they get Jeff Reardon, 31 saves, and Baron Gare, you know as a starter, you go out there, pitch your 6-7 strong innings. If your team can hit like the Twins can, you're going to have a good chance of winning a ball game, something they couldn't do last year.
1-0 on Coleman. 2 out, bases empty in the top of the 5th. And Whitey, I don't know if Whitey is superstitious or not, but he eschews the patio furniture.
Yeah, and 29 runs scored in 3 games. I'd move too.
And we've never seen Whitey in an empty chair. Strike. 1-1. But think about Whitey through the years. We have seen him when we saw him in his beach furniture here earlier in the series, and he's always standing against that wall in St. Louis. Different seat tonight. 1-2.
This is normally not a good play with 2 out, nobody on, but if Coleman gets on first base, the chances of him getting the second are great. So that's why a bunt with 2 out, nobody on for a guy like Vince Coleman is a pretty good play. If Tim Laudner did it, or Jim Lindemann or somebody, it would be a bad play.
Frank Viola has set down 10 in a row at the end of 4 1/2. 2-1 win. The St. Louis Cardinals lead 2-1.
Almost everybody says in both the American and National League you can't pitch high. This is 4 out of the last 7 Cardinal hitters. Jim Lindemann, Willie McGee. Take a look at Tony Pena. And to end it, Vince Coleman. Tell that to Frank Sciola, as we saw the sign in the stand say. In the running for the Cy Young Award in the American League, along with many others.
In the running, but the votes are in. They
Yes.
just haven't been announced yet. Dan Gladden takes inside. 1-0. Gladden, Gagne, and Puckett, bottom of the 5th inning, and Danny Cox is throwing in the pen. On the leadoff man. McGrain has faced 18 men through 4. It means he's going through the lineup now for the 3rd time.
big advantage, even though Gladden has hit a grand slam home run, 3-1 with a 1-run lead, you have to challenge the hitter. So you throw it to the middle of the plate, hope you get a strike, and he did.
Smith, and that's as good as gold. 1 out.
It is gold.
The Midas touch, you say?
Well, it's so obvious after seeing him play 7 consecutive games. He just plays so differently than other shortstops. Acrobatically, jumping over runners, threw from midair the other day.
Gagne with 1 out. Gagne has struck out twice. To the right side, confusion by Lindeman. McGrain covers, and no, safe. McGrain thought he was there. Wire says no. Lindeman didn't know which way to go. He started at first, then he went for the ball. He didn't know where to be.
And then he complicates it with a bad throw. It's behind Joe McGrain, and McGrain has to reach back for the ball, and then he can't find first base, or at least it didn't appear that he found it. See right here, he breaks right away. Sinker down and in. There you can see him moving. You're taught to do that in spring training. Any ball to the right side. Now, watch where the throw is. Left-handed, should be on that side. Right there, he doesn't look like he sees the bag, and when he gets there, if he ever does, Gagne's across the bag. See, he can't see it. If the throw was out in front of him, he would have had a chance to catch it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like he did touch it.
Well, he did, but and the replay shows it, but it wasn't done the proper way. So what you do is you give Lee Wire a confused look. Instead of just going over there and making it routine. Now watch this. He's moving. They're talking about Lee Wire. He's looking at the play, but it's not exactly a kick the bag and get off the bag like you're supposed to do. He made the play very difficult, but the play should have been called.
Well, Jim Lindeman made it difficult.
Yes.
McGrain did everything he could to make it well, and he's out of there.
It's a confused look and a hook. In comes Danny Cox with 1 out in the 5th.
Happy trails to... Well, the responsibility right here, of course, is the throw's a little bit behind him. It looks like the Tucson two-step. Tried to tag it with his right leg, brushes it with his left. Again, this is the pitcher's play to call. The minute the ball is hit, you yell, I got it, you take it. And the play develops late. It looks like he brushes the base and then argues with Lee Wire. Again, didn't give him a good look, but it did appear he was out.
Danny Cox now comes in to pitch on 2 days rest. He has not pitched in relief in 3.5 years. In his major league career, he has pitched twice in relief, both times in '84. Here's Puckett. Gagne at first, 1 out. Ripped toward the gap in right center field for extra bases, up against the fence. Gagne around third, on his way in. The game is tied on a double.
Hooks it away from McGee. The carom is the difference there because the wall does not allow the ball to come back to McGee. Gagne scores easily.
So tied at 2, Puckett at second, and here's Gaetti, who is 0 for 2. 0-1. Second, 1 out. One and one. 2-1.
I'm really surprised that Whitey does not have somebody up, because if you're Danny Cox, you're going to tell him. And you can see that was on a high slider. You can see the graphic. You're going to tell him you feel great, but this is the day you usually throw between starts, not in the 7th game of a World Series.
Off his foot, foul ball.
The point I'm trying to make is you just don't know how you're going to feel. It's not something you've done before, at least not in recent years. So the will is there, but is the stuff there?
And Whitey has one out in the bottom of the 5th inning. So he has at least 4 2/3 innings. And he's got Worrell and he has Daly. But later. Blocked by Lake.
Jim, I don't know of anybody who knows any better what it's like to be a starting pitcher and come in relief like you did in the '83 series.
Mike Rourke going for the phone. That's Todd Worrell, who we may see later. Their #1 right-handed stopper is Mike Rourke. Goes up with a lefty.
That would mean either Daly or Horton.
Right.
He walked him.
Well, I came in 83. I've been used in relief towards the end of the year. I remember a playoff game where I pitched one day and came back the next day and pitched actually better the day I relieved. But in this ballpark, a small park, if you don't know what kind of fastball you have and you're doing something that you're unaccustomed to, you end up walking guys. And when you walk guys, you have big innings. And every game in this World Series has been decided by big innings.
2-2. Daly gets up in the bullpen. With Puckett at second and Gaiani at first and Don Baylor at the plate. It gets away from Lake and he throws to third and they get him. Puckett delayed. Then he saw that the ball had gotten free, and by that time it hadn't gotten that far away from Lake. He's able to recover and throw him out.
And that was the key. Steve Lake couldn't find the ball. Had Kirby gone initially, possibly he would have made it. But watch Lake. The backhand, now he can't find it. Puckett thinks it has dribbled away farther than it actually had. He's an easy out at third.
Well, that's the toughest play for a runner when the ball is directly behind the catcher because he doesn't have any perspective.
And if your third base coach is trying to tell you to hold up, forget it. You can't hear anything.
That's right. Also, you look at Baylor, though. He's the guy that could help you. Right there, it goes behind him. So he's giving him the sign.
Yeah, you could help me, but if you've got to rely on a coach in a situation like that, it's too late. You've got to rely on your own instincts.
2-0 the count.
That ball looked like it came up and hit Davy Phillips, as a matter of fact. Otherwise, it probably rolls a little farther away.
Two and one. Gaiani at second. 2 down. Tied at 2 in the 5th.
Best time to nail a runner if you're a catcher is when there are 2 outs, because the runner at second base is going on contact. Watch this ball come up and actually hit Davy Phillips. Otherwise, it's really a wild pitch, a legitimate one. Second, third, 1 out.
Side of the mask.
Yeah.
Taylor loops it into left field for a base hit. Holden charges. Here comes the throw home, and he is out. Lake holds the ball. Woo! What a play by Lake. You've got Gaiani coming in full speed, and nobody plays the game like Gaiani. And Steve Lake charged and threw keeps the Cardinals tied at 2.
The ball was not hit sharply. Now watch Gaetti come trucking home. Coleman, as we pointed out, charges the ball well, and a catcher, all he wants to do is get it in his bare hand. The catcher's mitt is not designed for a slap tag. That's why it's a remarkable play by Steve Lake. Gaetti has every right to nail Lake in that situation. Nothing else you can do.
Ozzie Smith hits a pop-up, caught by Gagne. 1 out in the top of the 6th, and Tommy Herr coming up.
Watch the bench after Gaetti goes in hard to Lake. Watch the Cardinal bench.
And Gene Gieselman leading the charge to make sure Lake was okay. The trainer, the first man out there. 1 gone. Tommy Herr takes inside, ball 1. Smelling salts, you betcha.
Another look as Lake does what he has to, and so does Gaetti. Reminds me of the 70 All-Star game, Fosse and Rose.
Similar shot.
Well, we were talking about Lake before he of the Life Imitates Art, watching the open of the game on television, then going through the double doors. He wishes this was art right now. But it's life. And he's feeling it.
Problem that Lake has to worry about now is really not the left part of the body, unless it's a knee or a hinge. It's his throwing arm. And even though he was hit on the left side by Gaetti, he did fall on the throwing arm. So maybe we won't know until the next half inning whether he's all right or not when he comes back out there.
And there's another problem, 2-2. If they had to take Lake out and catch Pena, Pena's a designated hitter, and under the rules, that would mean the Cardinals would lose their designated hitter for the rest of the game, and the pitcher would have to hit. And so Whitey's really got a problem if Lake can't make it back out. The other catcher, Pagnozzi, has the flu. That's grounded into center field for a base hit. So Tommy Herr with a 1-out single, and Lindemann is the batter. 2-2 tie in the 6th inning. Lake right next to Gieselman. And Danny Cox on the other side.
That's what I'm saying about Cox. He throws one fastball and Puckett doubles. Baylor hits the slider to left field, so it doesn't look like he's real strong.
Meanwhile, Viola had retired 11 in a row. Now Herr at first base. And Lindemann at the plate. Takes a strike. 0-1.
I'll tell you, Vince Coleman deserves a lot of credit because he gave Lake a chance both times by getting the ball to him as quickly as possible. Vince with 16 assists on the year, and none of his assists in his major league career have been as important as the 2 tonight.
2 tonight that ties a record, a World Series record held by many, 2 in a game. On Jim Lindemann. Kelly and Such is going to go to the phone, meaning bullpen. Meaning Berenguer. Schatziner to the lefty.
by Hrbek. Very quick. You're so surprised at how quick Ken Hrbek at 260 pounds or 50 pounds is. That's a tough play. You got to go around the runner to make the play. A lot more difficult than it appears.
One and two, one out. 2 and 2 on Lindeman with McGee to follow.
Appears to me, Tim, that he's really trying to be careful with Lindeman. You throw a fastball out over the plate. He had a home run swing. He's had 3 hits off him in the last 2 games. So you can see Laudner trying to move in, but once again, as he has done to Tommy Herr, he's run the count to 2 and 2. Has to throw a strike or has to be around the plate.
Full count now on Lindeman with Herr at first base. I would suspect he'll be going.
Bet the ranch on it.
And he can run 19 stolen bases during the regular season and only been thrown out 4 times. So not only a pretty good base runner as far as speed, but in this situation you don't have to be too smart.
The one thing you have to do, though, here is make sure he pitches. Viola with a good move. It's up to the hitter to put the ball in play, similar to a hit and run.
He goes, and it's popped foul back out of play. So 3 and 2 on Lindeman. Cardinals got 2 runs in the second. Twins with 1 in the second, including a man thrown out at the plate in that inning, and 1 in the 5th, and another man thrown out at the plate.
And you can look for the second baseman to be covering. I would assume Herr will be going again. Lindeman has shown that he rarely hits the ball on the ground the other way. Therefore, the second baseman, Lombardozzi, should be covering.
Herr goes, Lindeman pops it up, and back out of play.
What makes it a little bit easier, I guess, from a pitcher standpoint, is that 3 and 2, 1 out, you have to throw a strike. So you take a little bit longer, and really at this point, you'll sacrifice a stolen base for not walking Lindeman. Not something you want to do, but the 3-2 count dictates that you have to come into the hitter. You cannot rush your delivery, try to get rid of the ball too quickly, and end up walking him and create the first and second situation.
And they have Herr picked off. Hrbek to Lombardozzi to Viola. Viola backed up on the play, and Hacker says, how can you possibly call him out? And here comes Herzog, and good luck with Whitey and Wire here with Lee hearing anything.
Well, I'll tell you, from the naked eye, there was no way that Herr was out. But on the other hand, there is no way Tommy Herr can get picked off. As we mentioned earlier, it's up to the hitter to put the ball in play. And Tommy gets nailed here. You've got to make sure the pitcher goes home. What we said a couple of pitches ago. But he is clearly safe. Hrbek almost, that's interference on top of it. He should be awarded second base. 2 times.
Absolutely.
A fielder cannot block the base pass without the ball. So you have interference, and he's safe.
Outside of that, no problem.
As safe as there are months in a year.
12 of them. After a controversy-free first 6 games, we've had enough for an entire series tonight. Fly ball off Lindeman's bat to Brunansky. End of a wild top of the 6th. Still 2-2.
Tommy Herr picked off on a 3-2 pitch. That's one thing that went wrong. Now watch the others as far as the rundown play is concerned. Hrbek, without the ball, illegally blocking Herr. Herr should be awarded second base, and the tag by the pitcher Viola is late, and Wire, to add insult to injury, calls him out. And on top of that, Viola may have balked on his throw over there.
The hat trick.
2 of them.
Well, Lombardozzi held it too long. Hrbek blocks Lee Wire. You won't see it right now. There's the interference. Viola doing his best. He's saying, why am I in? Right there you see the blockage. He can't see what happened.
He's blocked out on top of it.
Viola says, I don't want to be in this play.
Neither did Lee, I think.
Neither did Tommy.
Oh.
1-0 the count on Brunansky. 2-0. And the thing about the crowd here is so loud. That's the type of play where if Herzog can be heard, he's out there a lot longer.
I'm not too sure that Whitey was arguing about interference. I think he was arguing about the out call. If he's arguing about interference, he may have asked for help from Dave Phillips, the home plate umpire, who had a better view.
2-0 pitch is a strike. It's futile, though. It's ridiculous to attempt to have an argument with somebody here. You just can't hear a man standing next to you.
Could go inside.
Yeah, right. Step in here, sir.
I'll tell you, if the instant replay comes in baseball, it'll come into this ballpark first.
3-1. Danny Cox still struggling. Remember, Cox has faced 3 men, gave up a double to Puckett, walked Gaetti, and gave up a single to Baylor, and only got out of the inning because Coleman threw Gaetti out. And he walks it. So he has yet to retire a man on his own. And Hrbek comes up.
Well, what you said early in the pre-game show is so true. Cox is facing the guy that's got as many home runs as the entire Cardinal team, 32, and you don't know what you have. You know the guy can hit a home run. You're trying to make your pitch, and he's been unable to do it so far.
He faced Brunansky with 32, and now he faces Hrbek, who had 34 during the regular year, struck out, grounded out.
28 of them off right-handers. 20 in this ballpark. A couple more numbers.
Rourke nodding, and the nod means as Whitey faces activity in the pen. And it might be Worrell who gets up. It is. It's Todd Worrell. And here comes Rourke. One advantage that Herzog has in a game like this, as opposed to a game in the National League Park, if he does go with Worrell and it's early, he doesn't have to worry about hitting for the pitcher. With a DH, you just go through the lineup, of course, so you can leave him in as long as he's strong.
Another advantage is he has Ken Daly behind Worrell, and Daly is better against right-hand hitters, at least a lot of the twin right-handers hit better against righties than they do lefties. So the matchup that seems something you don't want to really cause shouldn't affect them that much.
On top of that, Worrell may be used to get out of this inning and work maybe one more before they make a move, because really you can make a case for this being a very big inning. If they score here, the Cardinals a tough time playing catch-up ball. So maybe he's using him as a short man, even though it's the 6th inning.
Brunansky at first, and the pitch is a change for a strike. 2-1 on Hrbek. Two-two tie. Bottom of the 6th. Nobody out. Three and one.
Well, that's back-to-back changeups, and the last time Cox threw 3 back-to-back changeups. Randy Bush with the bases loaded back in game 2 hit a double down the right field line.
First and second.
I think you may see Steve Lake go out and talk to Cox again. Yep, that's what Whitey just told him to do, and there he goes. You got to buy time right now. Worrell hasn't been warming up that much.
The whole infield is going to help buy some time here. And also they've got to discuss all the possibilities with first and second and nobody out, and you've got to get that close to be heard. That's a tight-knit group.
here is that Cox is a better fielder than Worrell. Whitey's going to make the move here. Worrell is not one of the better Cardinal fielders. Very tall. Cox a much better fielder. So Todd may be confronted with a bunting situation when he gets in there.
But I think Whitey feels Cox just doesn't have it. He's walked three, he's given up a single and a double, and he can't go any longer. And Danny says, hey, man, I tried my best. And there's a few words for the umpire as well.
Until we meet.
Well, Danny Cox departing, and then departing from the scene as Davy Phillips, as he voices his displeasure. I didn't see any questionable pitches, not even close.
I didn't either.
But the same thing that allows Cox to maybe get thrown out is the reason I think Whitey Herzog went to him, as you see the toss by Davy Phillips. He's got great character, wants the ball in the big games, and even though he may not have been on, he wanted to pitch, and he wasn't able to do it very effectively.
Just couldn't do it. Now Worrell, nobody out, with Brunansky at second and Herbeck at first, and the Cardinals have to protect against the bunt with Laudner at the plate. He squares and looks at a strike, with Lindemann charging and Lawless on that plate backing up to cover third.
A perfect play situation to have a guy that's bunting. You have a guy that throws about 96 miles per hour, throws the textbook high fastball that might induce a pop-up. You have a slow runner. You have AstroTurf where you have guys who can charge. You have the situation normally where he will go to third, first baseman will charge, and you'll try to get the force at third. A lot of things can happen here.
Lindemann charges, it's outside, they throw down to second, and Ozzie is able to scoop it out of the dirt.
You see Ozzie giving the decoy Brunansky. Ozzie ran back to center field with the ball in his glove, trying to make Brunansky think that the ball got by him. Strong throw by Lake, but a short hop and a good play by Smith. Now watch him.
Exactly what he did.
After the play, Ozzie waits a beat, and now he runs towards center, trying to decoy Brunansky.
But Tom didn't buy it. Lindemann, 45 feet from home, and the pitch bunted out and missed for a strike. 1-2.
I tell you, Al, the interesting thing about the Cardinal defense right now, it's at its weakest on the corners. Normally, they would be having the rotation play on with Terry Pendleton coming in, but since Lawless is in third, lacks the experience on the rotation play, they're forced to play it straight up. The rotation play, the shortstop goes to third, the third baseman charges, the second baseman goes to first with the first baseman charging.
1 ball, 2 strikes. He swings away, pops it up in foul ground, playable for Lindemann. A big out. A big out. Still runners at first and second. Brunansky is the go-ahead run. And Herbeck at first. And now Lombardozzi is being called back, and they will go to the bench. And it will be Roy Smalley on his 35th birthday. There's Gladden, who will be next. And Smalley now, the switch hitter, coming up.
One for two in this World Series. Both the bats off Worrell. Fly ball the other night in St. Louis. Double here in the second game to left center field. So he's seen Worrell. He knows how hard he throws. He's seen the movement of the ball. And still, I don't know if that's good enough preparation, because we're talking about a guy that can throw.
So Smalley coming up. Smalley is a switch hitter. He had 275 during the regular season. As a left-handed batter, he had 277. He very rarely comes up right-handed. He was at the early stage of the year the left-handed DH on a full-time basis. But now he comes off the bench.
Matter of fact, I take it back. He did get the double here, but he's the one that hit the ball that Lindemann booted. Hit the ball very hard off Worrell that took a short hop and went by Lindemann into right field. Could have been a base hit, but they scored it as an error. So the ball sharply both times up.
One and 0. Strike. 1 and 1. Last pitch. Two and 1.
Changeup his third pitch. Of course, he knows that Smalley is an excellent fastball hitter, but you would think best against best. Don't want to get hurt with your third best pitch in this situation.
Half swing. 2 and 2.
You're wondering why you swing at a bad pitch. As a hitter, you have to get the bat started. We saw early in the game all the high pitches that Viola was throwing. Get the bat started, you can't stop it once you see the ball zoom out of the strike zone.
Two and 2 on Smalley with 2 on, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning. A 2-2 tie. In on it. So the count is full.
Now do you send the runners? I wouldn't.
I don't. Jim?
No, not at all. Strikeout pitcher, catcher Lake that can throw. Smalley, first one to admit that if he doesn't play a lot, he strikes out more than he usually does.
They go. High, ball 4. They're loaded. Three walks and the bases are loaded with 1 out. And Dan Gladden, who hit a grand slam a week ago last night, is the batter. And Al Newman, who will go in to play second base, is the pinch runner for Smalley. Loaded, 1 out. Cardinal infield double play depth. Hooking foul.
You see Pena right there talking about the ball being up with Worrell. I said Steve Lake, I beg your pardon. Talking about the ball being up. And what's got to concern Whitey Herzog is the fact that Gladden can get around on that high fastball and pull it foul. No damage, but that means he's not throwing as well.
1 and 1, snap throw to Lindemann. Newman back.
I believe that one of Tom Worrell's strength is more velocity than movement. So it's a matter of timing. And if he gets the ball in the middle of the plate, he's not going to be as effective. He'll tell you the more I pitch, the better I pitch. And he has not been used that often in the last couple of days.
One and two.
That's how a guy like Worrell is going to get you out with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. Pop you up or strike you out. It's rare that he gets a lot of double play balls.
Brunansky, the go-ahead run at third. Hrbek at second. The pinch runner Newman at first. Got him. He chased it for the second out.
We talked about the fastball. Now look at the slider, second better pitch. Very tight. As we said, a slider slides. You look like it's a fastball. You go out to hit it, and it slides away from you and down. Of course, he set him up with about 496 miles per hour fastballs, 95, whatever.
So your second pitch becomes your best pitch.
Did then.
Gagne up and in. We're talking about sliding. What about Lake on that last play? And the pressure on a Steve Lake right now.
Well, he has had some physical pressure on him twice. One from Don Baylor and the other from Gary Gaetti.
One and one. Bases loaded, 2 down. Brunansky, Hrbek, Newman. Two and one. Rourke, good luck being heard above his den.
Telling Tom Lawless may go into the dugout.
Wallace had to call time. Wallace has to go tell something to Worrell. Maybe Tom saw what Rourke was trying to say.
And the only guy for whom he would get his attention was Tom Lawless. There's Lawless saying, me? All right, just a second.
Again, it does come back to communication, whether it's fly balls. It's just difficult to communicate here. You have to have your head in the dugout, which is somewhat of a distraction.
Again, a right-handed pitcher can't see over the Cardinal dugout.
Two and two. Still 2 and 2. Three walks in the inning. Bases loaded, 2 out, 2-2 tie. And they pick up the tradition down in the pen because the ringleader Newman is at first base. Full count, the runners will go.
fist, and then Lawless makes an excellent play, saves one run, nosedive. We talked about his lack of arm strength. You should look at it from another angle. Saves one run right here, but makes the only throw he can on one hop. Gagne well across the bag.
You know, Jim, with the runners running and Newman's speed, he might have saved 2 runs with that play.
Twins and Puckett coming to the plate.
What a ball game.
And that's what you have to do. I mean, he's got 5 out of the last 6 at-bats. He's gotten hits, and he's hit the ball sharply. But again, what they've done the last 2 days is throw him strikes. First 5 ball games, they didn't throw Kirby too many strikes, similar to what we just saw.
Strike 2.
Now you really put that theory to the test. You cannot throw a strike on this pitch. A high fastball, a slider away.
Just off the plate, low away. You got to go to extremes, but you got to relax and let the ball go. You don't aim it.
1-2.
Again, we're talking a guy with 28 home runs. We haven't seen any power in postseason play with the exception of that line drive to center. But he can turn on a ball, something he couldn't do 2 years ago.
That is back out of play. A ball and 2 strikes. Morel took something off it.
Oh, it's that slider they struck Gladden out on. Now, again, we talked about it yesterday. A lot of times you'll get a breaking ball up, but it'll be up just high enough where the hitter thinks he can hit it, but he can't. That ball a little bit lower, we're talking 4 runs.
Foul tip held by Lake, strike 3. They get a run to take the lead. 3-2 Twins after 6. Back after this from your local station. 7th inning, a few things to mull over after this one.
In the 2nd inning, Don Baylor attempting to score on a base hit by Loudner. Now watch the high tag by Lake. Baylor was called out. In the 5th inning, Greg Gagne, a tapper right side to Lindemann. The throw behind McGrain, but watch McGrain clearly touch first base. Gagne calls safe. Herr in the top of the 6th inning. The rundown play. Interference on Herbeck. Herr safe at first. Herr was called out.
And all that through 6 as we go to the 7th. 3-2 Minnesota. Willie McGee, then Pena and Oquendo. Frank Viola, and he's been on the bench a long time. That was a very, very long bottom of the 6th inning. One and 1. Newman at second, and he's in the number 9 spot. Newman and Brunansky all chasing it, but they can't make the play.
Ken Herbeck, he knows there's mounds. He looks right there at those, goes around, knows the configuration here. Almost gets to the ball, hits off the railing, and Al Newman with a spectacular play, but it doesn't count.
How about that? This is a weird game, I'm telling you. Newman made the catch off the fence.
That's hit sharply to short. Gagne backs up, guns him down. One down in the 7th inning. And Pena comes up.
Check out Newman. He makes the catch off the wall, and now he wants it.
Well, after what he's seen all night, you know, he figures anything might go.
That's right. Yeah. That's great.
1-0 on Pena. Tom Kelly, when this season started in spring training, he was, without question, the most anonymous manager in the major leagues. I mean, even fans who follow baseball pretty closely were stumped when you said, who's managing the Twins? I think we know about him, along with a few million others now.
Of course, being young has really been a tremendous boon to the Twins, because they say he's one of us.
The boon to anybody.
Being young, yeah.
Some of them call him Coach. Strike. 1-1.
Coach Kelly.
Two and one.
Again, relying on that fastball, and as we've seen, been able to stay out of the strike zone with it. The changeups have come late in the game, so he's really been able to go to another pitch, something he didn't have in that 2nd inning when they got 4 hits.
3-1. Curveball in the bullpen. It's Berenguer and Schatzeder.
When you look at the Cardinal bench, Tommy Lawless can't wait to get up there after that 3-run home run off Viola. He may not face him. I think that curveball is directly responsible for what you said about Tom Kelly. 2-1 pitch. A guy doesn't hit a home run. They said they wanted to throw him breaking balls. Now he's behind in the count, 3-1. You can't get beat till Pena gets on, because you have a 1-run lead. So still, I would think a guy with only 5 home runs, you'd want to go after him, or if you do, at least do it with a pitch you get over better than your curveball.
In the air to right field, deep. Brunansky back and plays it off the bottom of the fence. Pena on his way to second and in with a double. Tony Pena with his 2nd hit. And the tying run at second.
Pardon me, out fastball away, and one of the most impressive players against the right field wall. You mentioned Yaz last night at Fenway. I think that's an excellent example, because Brunansky not only fields the ball well, he barehands balls off the wall, and it is in position to throw.
I mean, something you said earlier in the series, Al, that he told you the trick is to play it off the 3, so he knows where to go.
No wasted motion.
Oh, no.
He barehands it in position to throw, and at least makes it close.
And nobody knows that corner like Brunansky. He's played here since the park opened in '82. Oquendo, 0 for 2. Strike.
They were going to move Brunansky to left field because that's the tougher field to play here. They got Gladden. He had shoulder surgery and his arm came back, so they put Brunansky where he plays so well. But if you look at the configuration here, it's much more room to cover in left field.
0-2. Frank Viola has not walked anybody.
As his same thing that happened in the first game. 3 walks in the 5th game when he had trouble.
Struck him out.
And when he does, the first emotion we've seen, a little jump, a little skip. I'll tell you what, you get to the 7th inning of the 7th game of the World Series, you start counting outs if you're a pitcher. You take them one by one, but you start counting the outs. See the end of Oquendo being fooled by a changeup down and away after he set him up with a fastball on the inside part of the plate.
He's counting outs right now, and he's thinking about 7. 2 out in the 7th. Pena at second. Lawless 0 for 2 tonight. Foul away, out of play, 0-1. Tom Lawless, the most extra of the extra men this year, all season with the Cards, came up 25 times, got 1 hit in August, and 1 hit the last day of the season, hit .080.
Viola still with that high fastball, and the Cardinal hitters just can't get on top of it.
And that's the pitch he homered on.
Yeah.
At Busch Stadium. So here's, perfect example of what you're saying. Just because a guy hits a fastball one time doesn't mean you go away from it. If you did, he wouldn't have enough pitches.
Throw to Gaetti off the heel of his glove, and Pena is safe.
Oh boy,
I don't understand it.
I don't
mean, it
either.
worked, but
some plays in baseball, even if they work, they're bad plays. Terry Pendleton did it twice yesterday, but Terry Pendleton's a guy who can run. If this is a good throw, he's out, and the Cardinals are out of a scoring opportunity. The first one since the 2nd inning.
Hit the base.
Yeah.
Hit third base. He looked at Gaetti, who was playing very deep, and figured, why not? 1-2 on Lawless, who lines it to center field right at Puckett. At the end of 6 1/2, St. Louis 2. 7th inning stretch. The Metrodome in Minneapolis. Gary Gaetti will lead off. He involved in this play at the plate in the 5th inning.
No ill effects shown by Gaetti or Steve Lake. Of course, as you can see, Lake takes the brunt of it. Just holds on.
So here we go, bottom of the 7th. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver. Game 7 of the World Series. 3-2 Twins. Gaetti, Baylor, and Brunansky facing Todd Worrell in his 2nd inning of relief. Strike.
Tell you, when you think about it, this could have been a game that's out of control. Vince Coleman throws out 2 runners at the plate, and Tom Lawless makes that good play with the bases loaded with the runners running.
The shallow center, McGee gets a late start, comes charging in, makes the catch on the run. Willie plays a deep center anyway, and he caught that up near the heel of the glove.
Todd Worrell ready to deliver. So fastball, Gaetti pops it up, and what is a routine play, as you see what Al was talking about, a long run for McGee. And right on the wrist, out of the glove and the wrist. Again, you just don't see it that well here.
Don Baylor, who got the losing share in last year's World Series. Looking for the big diamond now, 0-1.
What a career. I remember when he played with the Orioles, Earl Weaver said he would be a most valuable player at some point. And at that point, I just didn't think that he was going to be a full hitter, hit a lot of home runs. 1979, 36 home runs, 39 home runs, 136 RBIs.
Fly ball to right. Oquendo looking up into the Teflon, makes the catch. 2 down. And Brunansky coming up. A reminder, next Sunday, the New York City Marathon. 22,000 runners, and the times at the bottom of the screen on ABC Sports. Brunansky singled, flied out, drew a walk. He has scored twice tonight. The other run was scored by Gagnon. 3-2 Twins. Oh, 1. Looking ahead to the 8th inning, Whitey's crew will send up Lake, Coleman, and Smith. 9, 1, and 2. And in the bullpen for Minnesota, the Terminator, Jeff Reardon. One and 1.
He usually terminates games. The Twins may be hoping he's terminating a season.
One and 2.
Morel, very impressive mixing up his pitches. Well, one of the constants of the Cardinals all through the year, and we saw it in the 5th game in Busch Stadium and tonight, is their defense. Not a great offense with Clark and Pendleton out, but they keep you in the game with great defensive gems.
Two and 2. Laudner strapping up between Viola and Kelly. Popped up. Wallace circling, stays with it. Nothing's routine. To the 8th, still 3-2 Twins. Funny, in this age of instant gratification, if you don't have your socks knocked off early on, everybody says, oh, the World Series is pretty dull. And it takes a few games for it to build, and then you get to this point, like last year.
It takes some time as the music that was playing between innings twist and shout. It takes some time for things to build up to that crescendo, and this game certainly has not disappointed anybody.
It's got my attention.
And the series, too. Yesterday's game, today's game. Here we go, 8th inning, with Lake leading off and fouling it away. 9, 1, and 2 for the Cardinals. Lake, Coleman, and Smith. The president of the American League on the far left, Bobby Brown. And his opposite number, Bart Giamatti, also in the ballpark, along with the commissioner. The Twins 6 outs from the title. Broken bat, little roller, Gaetti, Herba. Lake is gone, 1 down, and Coleman comes up.
And so is his bat as Gaetti gobbles up this ground ball. We've told you all series. Gold Glover last year, most likely win another one. Great power hitter, and he gets the first out here in the 8th inning.
Carl Pohlad and his family, owner of the Twins. Coleman 0 for 3. Time call, the beach ball loose in the outfield.
I'll tell you, I think the reason Frank Viola is still in this game, he's still throwing the ball well, yes, but Coleman is, from the right side, is 0 for 10. Ozzie Smith 0 for 8. Neither Smith or Coleman have a hit as a right-handed hitter. If Reardon were in there, they'd be hitting left-handed, of course.
Foul back, 0 and 1. 1 out in the 8th inning.
Plus, if they do get on, you have 150 stolen bases between the two. And Jeff Reardon has stolen 8 for 8 against him this year, and obviously much easier to run on than Frank Viola.
Brunansky charging in. There, makes the play. 2 down. Smith, the batter. There it is, lowest regular season percentage. Oakland in 74, 556. The Twins well below that this year.
just barely fouled. I had him not on the line, but then again, I don't believe that's where Smith's going to hit. That was a mistake. So playing the percentages.
Weak grounder to Newman. 7.5 gone. 3-2 Minnesota. Bottom of the 8th inning. The Metrodome is rocking. And that is a redundancy. The Metrodome has been rocking for a couple of weeks. Kelly with Viola between innings. You know, you wonder when he strikes that sort of pose, is he telling him, hey, you've given me everything you have, I may go with Reardon in the ninth? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you turn her around. You got to make them make a move with Lindemann, with Reardon, the right-hand hitter versus right-handed. And McGee, of course, he's hitting well from both sides. So, and you're going with a guy that got you here. Well, of course, Viola had a lot to get him to the ninth, too.
Bottom of the 8th, 3-2 Minnesota. Herbeck leads off. They'll be followed by Laudner and Newman. In the 9th inning, Herr, Lindemann, and McGee for St. Louis.
Of course, it's a moot point if Worrell doesn't do his job and contain the Twins in the bottom of the 8th. And he knows that. We know it. Now you at home know it.
2-1 on Herbeck. The hands and countenance of John Tudor. Lindemann started to break toward the ball and now gets back to the bag for the out. 1 away. So Herbeck is taken care of. Tim Laudner comes to the plate. Daly, earplugs. He's heard enough. He heard a crack of the bat yesterday he didn't like. Herbeck, and here comes Reardon. So what we suspected, I think, is true. Kelly telling Viola, hey man, you were great, but I'm going with Reardon in the ninth. Strike, 1-1.
And he let him pitch the 8th because he worked to Ozzie Smith. Might see Ozzie Smith and Vince Coleman. You might see Terry Pendleton pinch hitting for Jim Lindemann in the 9th inning. Possibility.
Yep, that's the one thing that Herzog has going for him. His whole bench now is left-handed, basically. Pendleton is switch hitter, but as you know, he can't hit right-handed because of the rib injury. Bert, Bert will give you that look on April 7th and October 25th. It doesn't matter. Base hit. Laudner at first, one down. Al Newman. And the man who could only sit and watch, Clark.
I think he wouldn't have liked to have been able to hit in this ballpark.
Newman bats for the first time in the game. As a left-handed batter, he hit 178 this year. Hits it in the air. Coleman was playing him the slice anyway and makes the catch in foul territory. So 2 down. And Dan Gladden, who is 0 for 4 tonight, coming up. And Herbeck, born here, raised here, and now trying to be part of a world championship team here. Joe Niekro finally gets to a World Series. Toward the gap in right center field and up the alley. Laudner is being waved in by Reddick. Here comes a relay from her, and they can't handle it. 4-2.
Tried to score 3 runners tonight at home plate. The first 2 were nailed. The third one, Tim Laudner, could have been nailed were it not for the in-between hop thrown by Tommy Herr. Good play by Rick Rennick, the third base coach, realizing it's 2 outs and you're going to take a chance.
You'll see a good throw would have gotten him. See the second short hop, Steve Blake unable to handle. You could see, obviously, if he comes up with these outs. So the man that really put game 1 away with a grand slam may have done it here in game 7.
Debris on the field is the reason for the delay.
It's really funny. Laudner would have been out by the biggest distance at home plate. The other 2 plays, bang, bang plays. If the throw's on the money, if Tommy Herr's throws on the money, Laudner's out by 4 feet. Maybe.
Gladden gets credit for a double, third on the throw, and a run batted in. 2 out. 0-1 on Gagne. Baylor. Tries to bunt, and it's 0-2.
Not a bad idea. We saw him try to push one to the right side earlier in the game.
Struggling in this series with the bat. Apparently knows his own limitations. Probably a higher percentage play for him to try to bunt to get on against Scott Worrell than to swing away.
Straker. Lance Johnson.
Worrell dropping down. He hasn't been dropping down this season very much.
No, not at all. Of course, if he does and makes a good pitch, it's all over. It usually changes your rhythm.
Line drive, 1 hop to Tommy Herr, and that's that in the 8th. To the 9th, 4-2, Minnesota in game 7. No No team trailing going into the ninth has ever won the 7th game of a series. 4-2 as we go to the ninth. Last year, when the Twins season ended October 5th, Frank Viola was the winning pitcher. He beat Chicago 3-0, and that meant the Twins wound up 21 games out of first in 6th, ahead of only Seattle in the American League West. A year later, they are 3 outs away from the World Championship, and Jeff Reardon to try to get the 3 outs.
And a man so responsible for them getting here, along with Gladden, Berenguer, the new players on the ball club this year. 31 saves, 35 last year in Montreal, 41 the year before. The only relief pitcher in the last 6 years has had over 20 saves. Fastball, curveball.
Kerr, and then Kurt Ford is out on deck, and then McGee. 1-0 on Tommy, who is 1 for 3. Anything for a rally.
And if you think that run in the 8th inning wasn't important, consider the fact that you really take away the meaningful running attack of the Cardinals. They can still run, but it's not going to be the tying run unless 2 are on.
1-1.
Herbeck both off the lines. That's another thing you can do when you have a more than 1-run lead in the 9th inning.
2-1.
We ran into Reardon in the catacombs of the stadium, and he said that inning he got yesterday he felt would help him. 3 2/3 inning in this World Series, 5 base hits. So the Cardinals have been able to get something going, but line drives up the middle, just making contact, what they do best.
Foul ball. 2-2. Center field, shallow, tuck it on, 1 out. Kurt Ford, that's for Lindemann.
Those odds, the Minnesota Twins were 150 to 1 before the season started to win the World Series.
And some thought that was too low. Phillips, just a slight twitch.
Little body language.
2-2.
You have a curveball like that, you can fool the ump. I mean,
That's true.
and what are you looking for here? He showed you both pitches. One's over 90 miles per hour. You got to look for the ball.
Hrbek will run out of room. 2-2 with one out, and the base is empty in the ninth. 4-2 Minnesota.
That's another thing that run in the eighth did. It gives the pitcher the luxury of saying, here it is, hit it. It's a home run. It's still a one-run ball game.
Three and two. McGee to follow.
And this is what you're talking about right here, 3-2. Here, hit it. Middle of the plate. It happened to Todd Worrell in the playoffs. 2-run lead. Harry Stillman hit a home run. I like to give up home runs, but it's better than walking somebody with a 2-run lead.
Gaetti calling. Two guys. McGee next. Looper in foul ground. Gagne has no play. 0-1. If McGee keeps it alive, Pendleton has come out on deck. He would be the tying run. Terry would bat for Pena. To Gaetti, for the first time ever, the Minnesota Twins are the world champions. consensus 4th, 5th, 6th place choice in the American League West, with a manager not named until 7 weeks had gone by in the offseason last year. With a 34-year-old general manager, Andy MacPhail, a team that not long ago may have been headed elsewhere. Their future in Minnesota seriously in doubt. Small crowds, the depths of the standings, and now this.
And if you're looking for Tom Kelly in your picture, forget it. True to form, he said he would allow the players to celebrate on the field. He would wait on the bench, and that's what he did.
And he told us he wouldn't be able to see this if he was out there.
That's right.
Tom Nieto on the left and Steve Lombardozzi on the right. And that says everything. The Metrodome still rocking. Viola beats Cox. And let's go to Reggie Jackson in the Twins locker room.
Thank you very much, Al Michaels. And an obvious World Series scene. You see the commissioner on my left, Carl Pohlad, the owner of the Minnesota Twins. Here on my right, Bobby Brown, Dr. Bobby Brown, the president of the American League. Andy MacPhail, the general manager, young fella here of the Minnesota Twins, and the youngest manager to win a World Series non-playing since John McGraw in 1905. Mr. Commissioner, will you present the World Series trophy to Mr. Pohlad?
Carl, and to the entire Twins organization, this is a very special thing. They told me a few years ago that they shouldn't have had baseball in Minnesota, and you've made it very real. It's a class organization. It was a great win. Congratulations to you, Carl.
Right.
That thing's pretty heavy.
Thank you, Peter. On behalf of the entire Twins organization, on behalf of everybody in this upper Midwest area that supported us, it's just a great thrill speaking for the team and everyone here. And I just want to say I've never had a greater thrill in my life, and I'm sure that applies to the entire team and everybody else in the Twin City area. There you go.
Tom Kelly, what do you think of the owner here? What do you think of your trophy?
Well, I'm very happy that Mr. Pohlad gave me an opportunity to manage these fine bunch of young men, and I'm very proud of the guys, the way they played. You know, the outstanding effort against the Tigers, very good ball club, and to beat the Cardinals, just an outstanding class organization. We have to feel very proud.
The thing I want to ask you, Tom, what did you say to Frank Viola in the middle of the 8th inning?
Well, I didn't want to take him out, but the way we've been going all season long, we didn't divert. In the 9th inning, Mr. Jeff Reardon gets the baseball, and that's the way we did it all year. Reardon's my man in the 9th. He gets the ball. That's all there is to it.
Outstanding. Mr. Pohlad, let me ask you a question.
Thank you.
I know that you've had some...
You and Andy made it all happen.
All right. Way to go. Super.
Mr. Pohlad, I know you've had some great thrills in your life. You can name it when it comes to buying things, but a World Series trophy is something that all the dimes or all the pennies you can save in the world you can't buy. What's your feeling today?
There's no way I can describe the feeling. I've been through many things in my life, pleasant and unpleasant. This is the greatest thrill, and the only way that you can really know how it feels is to be here, have it happen to you, and believe me, thanks to a great organization, Tom Kelly, Andy MacPhail, and everyone else, it happened to us, and we're just grateful. We're grateful for the good Lord to let us come through all this, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am.
I know the guys love you. I know the fans love you. When we come back, we will come back and see the Most Valuable Player trophy given to Mr. Frank Viola.
All right.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
There you go, Frank.